Hi, welcome, Simon here. In this video, I'll be doing a teardown on an Acer all-in-one desktop. Let me show you the model here. If you take a look at the back of the computer, you should be able to identify the model on this sticker. It says Acer Aspire C24 1300. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is to remove the stand. So the two legs here, the legs that is standing on the computer, you can actually twist and turn to the left, or get yourself a Phillips screwdriver. Go ahead and turn it around, turn it to the left, and remove the stand. Once the stand is removed, it is a lot easier to work with. The next is to remove the cover right here. So there's a little cover that covers up the top of the metal here. So to remove it, get a metal prying tool or some sort of a prying thing that you can go in between that gap and pop it open. When you remove the cap, the next thing is to remove the 3 screws. There are 2 screws right here that you can physically see them, and there's one hidden screw on the darker side of it. It's right there. Okay, so there are 3 screws in total. Get a Phillips screwdriver. Go ahead and stick it in. Unscrew. And then do the same on the other side. The screw is supposed to come off, and again, because the computer is sitting, so this one came off. Let me lay it down for a second. Remove this screw right here. Sometimes it's easy to come off, but this one for some reason is harder to come off. Kind of get stuck on one side of it. See if I can dig it out. Okay, I'll work on that in a second. The last screw is the one right here in the middle. I'll show it to you and I'll do it to remove it after. So there's one screw that is straight down in this circle right here. I can't really see it, so I need to kind of feel that screw and start turning it around. They make it in a way so hard to get in. Okay, finally I kind of get in between that screw, but it's just not coming out. There you go. Once this thing is slide off, sorry about that, they make it in a way that is so difficult to get to the screw, and by the time when you get to the screw, it is hard to remove it. I'm not here to complain, but I just feel like shouldn't be this complicated. There's kind of a flaw here in the design. So this thing here, you can see that there are 3 screws that is holding down the computer, the stand. Is 1, 2, and 3. So that 3 screws are meant to be held down by 1, 2, and the third one is in the back of here. And even the screw doesn't want to come off. It's just kind of stuck in there. All right, so I only got 2 screws came off. Let's work on the rest of it. So don't feel difficult to remove it, because this is definitely not easy to remove, and to install you have to slide it in. You just kind of slide in like that, and then the stand, you just go this way. To remove it, you just have to slide it out. So technically the design here is not a good design. All right, the next step is to remove 4 screws. Once you remove all the 4 screws, this thing should just pop right out. Okay, the thing just popped right out, and that one missing screw here, yeah, there's one missing screw right there. So that screw are meant to be the third one for the stand that goes in there, that goes in here. Okay, so once that is all removed, the next step is to go ahead and pry this thing open up. Open up the cover, and we need to remove 4 screws, which is holding down the screen. Once you remove all that 4 screws, put it on the side. We need to remove the tiny screw that is at the bottom of the computer. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's remove all that screws. Okay, once we have all the screws removed, let's get a metal prying tool. The next step is to separate this plastic here, the black plastic, away from the silver plastic. So this line right here is where you need to make the separation. Okay. And when it comes to this line, this is the way the separation is, not this part, okay? You need to separate from this part of the back cover. And you want to run all along the side of it. So this is the side. I'm using a plastic prying tool. Let's come back here, work on this side of it. Slightly just push it apart. Hopefully this way you guys can see much better. Okay, let's turn it around and then just flip it open. Okay, here's the internal part of the computer. Be using a Phillips screwdriver. Let's go ahead and remove some of the screws. They use a tiny little screwdriver, so I'll be using a smaller Phillips. Because the screwdriver, the screw is a lot smaller, so use a tiny little screwdriver here. The 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you remove 4 screws, lift it straight up to remove the cover. And here you can see a very simple motherboard, tiny little fan, heatsink, that's about it, and 2 speakers. So it's a very simple design, nothing fancy, and just a big 24-inch LCD screen. Okay, and here you can see that the Wi-Fi is red and black. This is your Wi-Fi card, CMOS battery. This is your M.2 SSD drive. To remove it, just simply remove one of the screws, slide the M.2 to the left, and you can see this is a 512. I think it's 512, I believe. Yep, it's a 512 M.2 SSD drive. Nothing really fancy. It says product of Malaysia, so this thing is made in Malaysia. Philsun is the chip. I wonder what this M.2 SSD is all about. So put that on the side. Now, are you able to increase the RAM? It doesn't seem like there's a RAM slot where you can add more RAM to it. It's very straightforward. This is a webcam cable. To remove, open up the clipper and slide the cable away. Wi-Fi here. Maybe I should just remove the motherboard just to show in this video here. Okay, so this is the motherboard. Let's disconnect the CPU fan. Lift the cable straight up. Open up the clipper, slide the flex cable down. Speaker, lift the connector straight up. Wi-Fi, the black cable goes to the bottom, the red goes to the top. Got a Phillips. I think you can leave the Wi-Fi here because there's a sticker that stick onto it. It doesn't really matter. It comes off with the motherboard. Open up the clipper, slide that LCD screen to the left. That is the flex cable for the LCD. I'm going to do it on this side of it. So open up the clipper and then slide that flex cable to the right. What I did was instead of doing it for the motherboard here on the right side of it, I did it on the left. I think that's pretty much it. Let's see if we can remove this as well. Lift the cable straight up. Okay, let's work on the motherboard. Remove the one screw here. One screw on the top left and one screw here right in the middle at the bottom of the motherboard. So can we remove the motherboard at this point? Doesn't seem like so because the heatsink is still holding it down. Okay, now it's moving. See if we can get it out of this. Three screws holding down the CPU fan. That is for the fan. Something is still holding down the motherboard. I wonder what it is. Okay, so I figured it out. What is holding down the motherboard? It was this thermal pad. This little thermal pad here acts like a sticky glue. It kind of stick onto the chip. So that's pretty much it. It's very straightforward on the Acer motherboard. There's not much details in the motherboard here besides that little sticky stuff that stick onto the motherboard. You just have to wiggle a little for it to come off. At this point here, the only thing that you can upgrade would be the M.2 hard drive. The rest of it is not upgradable. The RAM is soldered to the motherboard and there is no way you can add more RAM to it. Very limited design, very simple design, and but I guess it can get the job done. So let's install it back here, making sure all the cables are sitting above the motherboard, especially this cable here, which is power up the motherboard. Let it sit here for a second. So we have the Wi-Fi, we have this, we have that, we have the speaker, we have this flex cable, we have that. So yep, we have pretty much everything that goes back in it. Let's get one of the screw. What I'll do is I'll link the M.2 SSD where you can upgrade it to a larger capacity, maybe to 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte, up to you. I'll link it in the description below. Please go ahead and check it out. It will direct you to either Amazon or eBay. Okay, so I just reconnected the CPU fan cable. If you find this video is helpful, please go ahead and smash the like button for me. I really appreciate you for doing that. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please feel free to subscribe. And again, please comment down below. I do read your comments and I'll answer any of your computer related question in a comment. So make sure you write to me and comment down below. Okay, let's install the LCD screen cable. Let's reinstall this cable here for the SD card reader and a USB here on the side of the computer. We then need to install the Wi-Fi. So put the screw back in there. The red goes on the top. The black goes at the bottom. Here comes the speaker. That is the little button right here. We need to reconnect it back. Okay, open up the clipper. This thing gonna slide it back in. It is all the way in, and close it down. Last but not least, some kind of power here that needs to power up the motherboard. This is slightly difficult. The corner is too narrow. Okay, it's all in. So there we have it. Let's put this thing back together. Well, before I do that, I forgot that we need to install the M.2 drive. I actually need to clone the M.2 to a larger M.2 drive. So I'll be doing a cloning. I'm not going to finish up the closing part here. Just so you know that you have to put in the M.2, the screw, put it down, 4 screws, and you got to finish up the rest of it. Just going to walk you through the little process here. I know that some of you may not happy with it because I did not finish the closing part. So here, once you put in that back cover on top, let me kind of show it to you for a second. So when you put in the back cover here, so this thing has to go on top of it, just like that, and then this thing goes on top of that. Put 4 screws on it. Once it's closed in, this is where you're going to slide it in after, and then put the 3 screws that goes on the top of the here. And after that, put on the cap, close it down, and the leg to stand it back up. I think I missed one step, is this little cover here. You need to put this first before you put this, before you put this, and before you put this. Okay, so that would be that process to get this thing installed. All right, thanks for watching. Until next time, bye now.